All right. Welcome everybody to the final XR Access event. It has been a long and sometimes wonderful, sometimes terrible, but always interesting 6 years. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It means a lot that there are people that care to come out and care to come join us for this retrospective. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dylan Fox. I'm the Director of Operations for XR Access. We should be joined shortly here, if she's not on the call already, by Shiri Azenkot, who's our Executive Director. And the agenda for today is pretty simple. We're going to start with just kind of a brief history of XR Access, look at where we started to where we've come in the past 6 years. We're going to talk a little bit about the hibernation and what it means. And then I wanted to have some time to give some thanks to people that have stood with us for these 6 years, and give a chance for community reflection for you all to be able to say kind of what extra access has meant to you, and how we can all keep the dream of XR accessibility going forward, even without the organization to support it. So to jump right in, a brief history of XR Access. So we started back in the year 2019, which is 6 years and also forever ago. We were a community founded to engage and connect XR creators, and with the goal of making XR accessible to everyone. The founding was a collaboration between Cornell Tech, Yahoo, and Pete, the partnership for employment and accessible technologies over at the Department of Labor. And it really kind of started off with the 2019 Symposium, which you'll see some photos here. A bunch of folks gathering together in New York at Cornell Tech campus, I believe, or I may be misremembering. That was a little bit before my time. Um, but it was really fundamentally revolutionary. It was this grand spanking new technology, at least as far as consumers were concerned. Uh, and there were all of these questions around how do we make this so that anybody can use it, that had at the time very few direct answers. And so we were founded really with the intent of bringing together the smartest, most knowledgeable people with lived experience of disability, um, and the people that were working on creating the next generation of XR applications, to get all of those people into the same room, and to solve some of these problems and to create the knowledge, create the best practices that could then be spread throughout industry, throughout academia, and really improve the accessibility and the inclusiveness of these technologies. Now that led to a whole number of things over the years, starting with our work streams. We had I believe 6 work streams back at the start, and that was so long ago that I couldn't even track down the names of what the different 6 were. Um, but this was about when I came in 2020, and we realized those were spread a little too thin, and so we consolidated to 3 work streams. We had the inclusive design of XR, accessible development of XR, and the business case for inclusive XR. And that led to a couple of really wonderful deliverables. I think we had the Stories project that came out of IDXR, as well as some great work with Christine Hemphill on the one of her kind of accessible design programs. These stories, in case anybody hasn't seen them, I strongly recommend you can go on our YouTube and watch these. This is a series of interviews with 5 folks with lived experience of disability, telling their stories and saying why the accessibility of XR matters to them, what type of impact that technology has made in their lives, and the what they would want to see coming out of it. And these were really important to us because I think so often technology development is led by the powerful and the privileged and the people that are getting up on stage, the white tech bro in his hoodie who comes up and says, "Yeah, we're gonna change the world." Um, and very rarely is it that a lot of the people that get left behind by that changing world get to have a voice. And that I think was a big part of why we existed, is to amplify those voices that would get left behind. I think the Stories Project was a great start on that. We also had some great things like Thomas Logan led us in development of a bunch of Mozilla Hubs prototypes of how we can use alternate text and landmarks to make things more low vision accessible. Ashley Coffey led the value of inclusively designed XR workplace tools. We made a great white paper in collaboration with Pete, where we had folks from our work streams going out and investigating all of the different apps and evaluating them for accessibility, and all kinds of good stuff that came out of those. We also, of course, have been doing plenty of research. There's been a lot of research here at Cornell on
Hmm.
things like cited guides in virtual reality, how we can have haptic and audio nonverbal cues for things like people nodding or shaking their head or making eye contact. Working on the science of augmented reality visual descriptions and how we can use AI to give the most relevant information in the most helpful way that can come out of machine vision. Um, and in addition to these, trying to support the research of everybody else that was out there as well, that were working on a million different ways that XR could actually be helpful as a technology, both as an assistive technology and as just a tech that everybody should be able to use for no matter what it's for. We also have had our fair share of time on the conference circuit. I've spoken at this point many times now at the Augmented World Expo, IEEE VR, CSUN Assistive Technology Conference, DEF CON, QCon, and even we had a at one point a gathering in at Schloss Dogstuhl in Germany of an international gathering of some of the
Hmm.
folks working on XR accessibility, and that was fantastic to be able to join and facilitate. We've been working on standards. The primarily I've been co-chairing the accessibility and the metaverse working group for the Metaverse Standards Forum, which is working even now and will continue working. It's something I'll be continuing on as on trying to set the kind of web content accessibility guides equivalent for extended reality, trying to make it to the point where people have a solid list of criteria that they can say yes, yes, no, no, okay, it's accessible or it isn't. We've also helped guide groups like the W3C and the FCC, providing our expertise there to make sure that they have the proper context and knowledge they need in order to define accessibility for, you know, policy-wise, accessibility-wise. We've put together a whole host of resources. The biggest of those, which will be remaining after the hibernation, is our YouTube channel that has at this point years of seminars, symposia, um, talks from researchers, talks from people in industry, just a ton of incredible information, as well as the XR Accessibility Project, our GitHub that we put together with the XR Association. That is your one-stop shop resource for accessible solutions for creators working in XR. Um, those two will go on. Those two will have all kinds of helpful information for people that come after. And then finally, of course, who could forget our symposia? We've held one every year, rain or sun or COVID, notwithstanding, since 2019, both online and in person in New York City. Over the years, we've had over 2,000 people come through, either in person or online. We are so much incredible information has been shared to these. So many people, researchers, and people from all over, researchers from academia, people from industry, people with lived experience of disability working in advocacy. We've been on podcasts, we've been on shows. It's the biggest conference focused specifically on the accessibility of this technology that anyone has put on. We had average satisfaction ratings on our next reviews of 4.6 out of 5. So I like to think we did a pretty good job of it. Um, I'm sure some of y'all will want to share your stories later, but I think it was definitely a special place where people could come and learn and try out demos of some of these technologies and experience them and connect in a way that is, despite our best efforts, impossible to do purely online. So that is not everything. That's not a comprehensive list of what we've done over the last 6 years, but I think it covers a lot of the big ones. And I really want to devote most of today to your voices. So let's go ahead and go to hibernation. So we have a post out here that is xraccess.org/hibernation, I believe, that has most of this information on it. And I will link to that. Um, but I wanted to make sure that everybody here had an understanding of what is happening with us, with our resources, and what's next. So first of all, in terms of personnel, my contract with Cornell is going to expire at the end of 2025. So I will be moving on to new and hopefully bigger things. If anybody has suggestions or opportunities to what those would be, I would appreciate a contact, but I've got a few irons in the fire. You can reach me at my personal professional email at dylan@drfoxdesign.com, or feel free to reach out over LinkedIn. Shiri will, whoops, excuse me, that was posting the hibernation post. That's what I was talking. Sherry will still be at Cornell Tech and running the Enhancing Abilities Lab. If you want to reach her, you can email her at sa933@cornell.edu. Starting in January, the info@xraccess.org email is no longer going to be monitored. So make sure that I think we'll set up a reply all to set up with the forwarding addresses. But if you want to reach us, the above emails are the ones to do it at. And finally, our Slack will be moving to read only since there won't be, unfortunately, anybody there to moderate it. However, in lieu of that, I will say I've set up a new Discord. This is separate from XR Access, but I still wanted there to be a place for all of the folks that have gotten used to sharing information there to be able to discuss. So I've set up a Discord, which is very similar to Slack for those who haven't used Discord, called the Emerging Technology Accessibility Discord. You can access that via tinyurl.com/eta-discord, which I've also just put in the chat. And I'm hoping that that will be, again, a place where people can come and talk about the effects of both XR as well as emerging technologies like AI with regards to how they affect accessibility and how they can improve it or harm it, depending on how we build them out. In terms of our resources, the XR Access website will not be shutting down immediately, but it will probably be shutting down eventually. And so the plan is to migrate that to a combination of resources. First of all, we're going to have a Cornell website that is going to feature a lot of the information. We're also going to be migrating some of our resources to the GitHub, which is also going to be maintained by the XR Association. And a lot of the information that was on the pages for our seminars, things like the about the speakers and so on, will be moved to the descriptions on our YouTube, because most of those have YouTube videos associated with them. There will be a transition period for this where anybody coming to the XR Access website will be informed. But if there's anything that you really want to capture, I definitely encourage you to make a backup and keep it close to your heart. Tuck it under your pillow at night and let it come in through your dreams. And then finally, I know there's some frequently asked questions that I've been getting that I wanted to make sure to address here. The first is just, why are we going into hibernation? And the two main things for that are, number one, there's been a big public focus shift from XR to AI. These things are certainly not mutually exclusive, but they have affected the kind of funding landscape, as has a lot of the shifts lately in our federal government. which I shan't say too much about here because Cornell has many many balancing acts to do, but suffice to say that it has not been a very friendly time for a lot of people like us that rely on grants from organizations like the National Science Foundation, like the NIH, and especially for those of us who have a focus on trying to make things a little bit more inclusive and diverse and equitable. Um, I'm sure none of you all need to be informed about that, but unfortunately, it has had an impact on us. The other FAQ I want to address is, will XR Access ever return? To which I can only say, hopefully. And it obviously is contingent on funding. Time is money, and I'm very grateful to have had the time and have had the salary to be able to spend 40 hours a week working on XR Access. But without one, so goes the other. So hopefully someday in the future, when we have a more of a societal focus on making things better and making things inclusive, we will return. But until then, our resources still exist, and as do all of us individuals who are working to make things better. So with that, I want to hand out some thank yous, and then give us some time for community reflection. There's a million people to thank, but I limited myself to a subset here. I want to thank, first of all, Larry Goldberg and Bill Curtis Davidson for helping to found XR Access and putting in a lot of the legwork and the schmoozing and everything that it takes to get an organization like this off the ground. I want to thank Shayna Creaney, who's our research administration specialist and has been helping us a ton behind the scenes here at Cornell in terms of keeping our ducks in a row. I want to thank our former interns, Adelaide and Sharon, who each during their respective times spent a ton of time and energy and really clever ideas, keeping us, forwarding the cause. I want to thank all of the students and other folks at Cornell and Enhancing Ability Lab and elsewhere. Ricardo Gonzalez, Ria Guilano, Jasmine Collins, Crescentia Young, Lucy Zhang, and I think the others are on the next page, just for first of all, their work pushing this research forward, and second, because oftentimes for the symposia and other big events, they would really step up and help make them happen. Because without their help, definitely I could not have done those events single-handedly. I also want to thank first of all, some of our volunteers and community members throughout the years that have made a huge impact. Folks like Jesse Anderson, Allison Cassels, Joel Ward, folks that have just been here and contributed their time and energy and wisdom and told us just that what we're doing is important and that we're on the right track. Because I think that it's so essential to hear whenever you're working on something like this, to hear people say thank you and to contribute their time, and to know that you're in it together. And I would not still be here without their support. I want to thank folks like Greg Welch, who have definitely been, spearheading projects like Vera and with being willing to help make sure there is an accessibility focus at venues like IEEE VR, and that accessibility is part of the conversation. We really value that support. Folks like Gary Moulton at Yahoo, who helped keep the symposium funding flowing for years after Yahoo exited the XR space. That made a huge impact on the level of event we could put on. I want to thank our friends at the XR Association, Liz Hyman, Stephanie Montgomery, Pierce Clark, for being our partners in this for many years now, and for the incredible collaborations that we've done. I want to thank folks like Thomas Logan and Ashley Coffey for their volunteer work, leading the work streams, and just again contributing in many different ways to keeping this going. Um, and there's a million other people I want to include here, but I'm gonna have to say otherwise. Just thank you, everybody who came, everybody who has believed in this cause throughout the years, and who will continue to uphold it, even without organizational backing. Um, this XR Access is a space that was always intended to be about community. It was a connecting space for the people in vastly different spaces in policy and game creators, advocates, just all these different walks of life to come together and help solve this challenging problem that needs to be solved in order for this technology to live up to its potential. Um, I want to thank all of you. If you're here, thank you. If you're not here but you contributed, thank you anyway. Um, and I'm going to stop talking before I get emotional and open up the floor because I want to hear from everybody else.
Hey Dylan, it's Larry.
Hey, Larry.
You didn't thank yourself, so I'm going to do that. This project came together so fast when Shiri called me and said, I have some leftover grant money. Let's put on a show. Let's have a party. Between January of 2019 and June, it all came together. Not long after, when you came on, this became one of the most responsive, most efficient, most professional gatherings I have ever been involved with. And I really got to thank you, Dylan. It's amazing that we had all of the organizations and people come together. We made great progress and pulled together, especially at the symposium, just an amazing group of people who will continue to uh, connect and collaborate. And I think learn from the experience of recognizing a problem and within virtual minutes, pulling people together to deal with it. And Liz, of course, was there so fast, and all the rest at Cornell. So once again, just thank you, Dylan. You have done an amazing job.
Thanks. Liz, you got your hand up?
I do, and I just want to kind of echo everything that Larry said. It was a joy to be involved in this organization, mostly, well, in great measure because of the wonderful work that you did, Dylan, and the partner that you were to us. We knew right away. As a matter of fact, Larry, I can remember sitting on a tarmac at Newark Airport on a flight to Ireland when you called, and I was like, I don't know much about this, and you convinced me and encouraged me to do this, and boy, that was just a wonderful thing that you did to get us involved, and we were thrilled to do it. And I do want to say, I know Dylan, I have every confidence that you are going to be a leader in this area and in so many other ways going forward. And we're hoping to continue to work with you to keep the XR community discussions going forward. That's been a huge success in our view. To It's not the symposium, but it is an active and living way to continue to bring together all the different stakeholders that are involved in all of this. And while XR Association has a broad remit. We certainly want to make sure that we carry on a lot of the spirit of this organization. And I encourage all of you to keep in touch. In fact, sign up for our newsletter and you'll see notifications for the community discussions. But no question, Dylan, I'm excited to see what the future holds. And my sense is that with this community, it is one that is caring and giving, and will continue to find ways to make a clear message about what is inclusive design and how we make this important computing platform open and accessible for everybody. So Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you, Les. And we can finally stop fighting over who gets the XRA acronym.
Sorry.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Jesse, go ahead.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jesse Anderson, and I joined XR Access in, I believe, around May 2020. I had heard about you guys through, I don't remember what, there was some other event, some conference where you guys had spoke at, and I attended one of your sessions. I'm like, oh, this sounds right up my alley. I had originally seen an early giant prototype of VR, believe it or not, in 1995 at the University of Washington through a project I was working on, and have been fascinated with it ever since. And then, when the Oculus Rift came out, the first version, I had gotten to see a friend of mine had a prototype unit, one of the development kit units, and I was amazed by it. And so I thought that, yeah, with virtual and augmented reality kind of becoming a thing and me being fascinated with it, I knew that there weren't official standards and things like that. And I thought I wanted to kind of be a part of that, because so oftentimes accessibility is one of those things that kind of gets left behind. And so when I found out about XR Access, I was really excited because I had, like I said, I got the Oculus Rift and I had been doing my YouTube channel for a few years and started covering VR that way. But I kind of felt that I was kind of yelling into the void of like, hey, let's try to look at this stuff. And, found XR Access in 2020. And just, it's been a really fun kind of journey from working on the symposiums. I remember being a part of one of the presentation sessions one year, doing the stories thing, just kind of working on documents for trying to, give ideas for feedback. I don't know, I wrote up some spiel, some Google Doc early on about accessibility and kind of just sharing lived experiences. But I've met so many people and, kind of learned about other organizations. And just continuing to work with Dylan on another project. Thank you, Dylan. Um, I've met so many people. It's been fun working on all these projects. And I think what we're doing here is really great. And I hope it does continue. There's so much more I could probably ramble on about, but I will end it there. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. Your support and your lived experience and wisdom and that doc that you wrote up, I pillaged that thing so many times. I sent that around to people. Like that was a foundational bit that got a lot of attention. So thank you for that. Yeah. Stuart.
Dylan, you know, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and that is consistency. Um, you have been consistent, to the point where I don't even know when I met you. I don't know when I met you because that's not the topic. Is the topic for me is I know that I can rely on Dylan, and you've always been there for me. If I need a question answered, or hey, could you hook me with this person? Do you know a guy or whatever? You have been consistent, and that, my friend, is the foundation of a solid man. And you have my utmost respect for the work you do. You have helped individuals that you probably won't even meet in your lifetime. And as a person with a disability, I know how important it is to have allies that are out there literally doing the footwork for us. And I've seen you at these conferences. I've seen you on YouTube, and I'm like, oh man, Dylan is kicking ass. And it just makes me proud. And, as you see this big head jumping around, I've gotten to the place where I'm using Vision Pros and things like that. So I want to thank you, man, for just being consistent. Because I mean, in a world where you have people that you look up one day and you're like, oh, what's wrong with them? I never can say that about that with you. What's wrong with Dylan? No, nothing's wrong with Dylan. Dylan's working and doing his job. I mean, he's a friend, he's a guy, he's a cool dude. He's consistent. So thank you for the consistency, my friend. And I am honored to say I got you my phone and you're my friend. And I love you, brother. I really do. Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart. That means a lot. Uh, I appreciate that. Mark?
Yeah, definitely. Big thanks to Dylan and everyone else here. I was fortunate to stumble my way into the 2019 XR Access conference and did my best to sort of stay involved over the years. And I think just looking back, it's definitely been always a challenge, like trying to build accessible XR products without guidance from the platform owners, the larger influencers that are driving investment and building the foundations of the technology, for smaller content creators and developers to build on top of. But unfortunately, there hasn't really been that ability to lean on the platform owners to understand how to build accessible applications and products. And so I think like the communities like XR Access have been sort of really the only way to um, you know get guidance and recommendations and share lessons learned just by experience and trying to build you know XR for everyone, which is no easy feat by any means. So yeah, it's definitely just been a great you know thing to have this community. So I'm definitely grateful that the resources will continue to live on and I don't know, in my view, especially with some of the changes, going into the law next year with Title II, there isn't this problem isn't going away. So and the technology is not going away either. So I certainly don't doubt that we'll all still be seeing each other, even if the forum changes. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yeah, and like I said, we for folks that still want to contribute to some of those figuring out some of these challenges. I think the accessibility in the metaverse working group of the MSF is probably one of the good ways to do it. That in the Discord. Um, we'll have to figure out since the MSF is kind of organization based typically, and I don't think we'll be able to sign anybody else up using the extra access emails. May have to join as individuals, but we do meet there every Tuesday morning, every other Tuesday. I think the next one is January 6th, 8 a.m. Pacific time. To figure out what are those criteria? What should the rules be so that we can actually have some gosh darn accountability? Uh, and we still would welcome the help on that too. But yeah, thank you, Mark. I appreciate those words. Uh, Anybody else? Ria, please take the floor.
Hi, everyone. I also just wanted to say a quick thank you to Dylan. This experience has been absolutely incredible. I first attended XR Access when I started at Cornell. Oh, sorry, introduction. I am a fourth year PhD candidate at Cornell, and XR Access has really been with me for much of my PhD. Like my first one was really my first year, and so. It was during a big shift in my research to studying disability. And it was really like, I think it set a lot of important sort of standards to which, I hope to hold my research. And, the communities I hope to cultivate and to work with in the future. It showed me what it looked like to organize and to work within a community. And Dylan, you were just so organized and so responsive and so kind and so reachable all the time. If I ever had any questions and through this whole process, like I think that in a lot of ways you really shone through it in the best ways and made this experience the best it could be. So I really appreciated getting to learn from you and getting to be part of this community for the past few years at the symposiums. They were really wonderful. And, when I was in college and I was sort of starting to go to conferences, everything was fully online with COVID. So this was sort of my first opportunity to be somewhere in person too, and to be in these spaces. And so yeah, I just appreciate everything that I've learned from you and from many of the people on the call. And yeah, I just appreciate that all that you've done.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, your research and the research of other, folks like it that have been studying this as a serious topic, right? Of like, how do we im- make these things successful in terms of things like avatars for people who are neurodiverse, right? Or uh, 360 degree captioning and audio descriptions. There's so many challenges here that require that type of kind of dedicated thinking and experimentation and the academic rigor that you and the others have been putting into it. I think without your work, we wouldn't have anything to promote. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to take the floor? Otherwise, I can keep rambling at people.
I can say something, Dylan.
Sure, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. I had a childcare emergency, so I came in late, but thank you all for joining. And I want to thank Dylan for everything that he's done because he's been really, really incredible. And I it's going to be really hard to adjust to not having him around. Even besides XR Access, he's been a ton of help and he's just a jack of all trades. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what things you achieve, Dylan.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Greg. I wanted to echo some of the comments that Larry and others have made. I've seen lots of groups come. I've seen lots of places be set up. I've seen lots of chat rooms set up to exist for 3 months and then to slowly fade off. And XR Access has been exemplary in its ability to keep going and keep the dialogue running and active. Now, yes, so you were paid and you were able to be there and do that, and a lot of the other groups don't have it. But it wasn't just that you were there and did stuff. It's you were just really effective at getting other people engaged and promoting other people. And so it was never the Dylan show. It was always somebody else's show. And it just kept moving around to whomever. So the you did an amazing job. And as a result, you allowed so many other people to do an amazing job. So this is a compliment to all of the people, and also to your skill in helping to bring them together and to um, um, manage to, like a catalyst. A catalyst is something that causes a reaction but doesn't get used up in it. Hopefully, you didn't get used up in it. But you seem to be enjoying yourself throughout. Yeah, so thanks so much for what you've done, and XR Access has really been really important. And I see that you are now trying to figure out how to shift some of people into other places where the dialogue can can continue even if this particular venue does not. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. And I want to also say in terms of yeah, promoting other people's work, um, I really want one of the last things that I've set aside for this last month here, um, is updating the GitHub. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, this is where we tried to kind of take and put everything that we could find that would be helpful to folks that are trying to push forward on accessibility. Um, Now we've been adding to it here and there. I've got some latest additions here. In March, the Unreal Accessibility Toolkit. In February, the VR Accessibility SDK. Things like that. Um, and I want to make sure if there are things that y'all have found really useful, and that could be development resources like code, but it could also be research papers, open source, things like that. I still need to put things like Justin Barry's Lemmings system that he brought forth at the last symposium and put them on here. If y'all have things that you think we should add, please email them to me or use. I think we actually do have a form here that I'll put in um, that we'll have access to for at least the next couple of weeks, uh, because we want to make sure that you know this is in the best possible place it can be as we kind of go into hibernation, such that if you know somebody is trying to put together a new project, or upgrade an old one, that they have what they need in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the resources. So I'll put out one last call for suggestions for that here. And if y'all have stuff you want to put in, or your own work, things that you use, please send them over, and we'll make sure that those get in there. Uh,
Dylan, I just want to say real quick, man. You know, I wouldn't look at this as a door closing because it's another door opening someplace else. So, yeah, this isn't the end. I mean, I don't get the tone of like a funeral, but this is more like a rebirth. You're like a whack-a-mole, man. You're gonna show up someplace else. Come on. So thank you. I mean, you've given me the power to empower myself as far as advocacy, as far as teaching students, things like that. And now I've taken that and tried to further the work that I do as far as with accessibility and technology, and pair with individuals that are like-minded, such as yourself. And I want to just thank you, man, because I don't know if I would have had that knowledge on my own, because I'm a geek and I love technology, but not like you do. You love technology, and especially for folks with disabilities. And that's a hard thing to find, because usually you find somebody that is able bodied, or I'm sorry, with a physical disability, and then we really don't know that much about it as much as you would. But you've mastered this accessibility like a Jedi Knight, man. So thank you so much. And sorry about the geek reference, but I'm a geek.
oh no, I mean I'm absolutely a geek. I mean, I think for me the reason that I got into all of this stuff was, I was raised on a bunch of science fiction growing up. I gravitated towards it because, in part, I saw all of this wild and crazy technology that was being used to help people and to make the world better. Think Star Trek. You had Geordi's visor, you had the tricorders, you had the holodeck. And sure, occasionally the ship would be overrun by rogue holograms or whatever, but by and large, it had the best of intentions behind it. And
Yes.
I think that it wasn't something that I put together necessarily until my master's, but when I was working as a UX designer, it was all this got told that, okay, user needs are the most important thing. User needs are your Bible. And as long as you focus on the user needs and then design the tech to fit that, you'll be great. And during the masters, I saw some of these accessibility presentations going around about VR, and I realized, well, hold on a minute. for all that we talk about user needs, here's all of these needs that are not being filled or just being ignored. Like, oh, these needs don't matter. Um, and that never sat well with me. So yeah, I think no matter what I end up doing next, I think you can be rest assured that it'll have something to do with trying to help this technologies live up to their potential, and actually make the world a better place instead of a dystopian nightmare. It
Well,
seems
well,
sometimes it seems like we're on the track to.
well, any place you show up, I will gratefully be your young Padawan to keep on the same all the time. So thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jared. Yeah. Did anybody else want to add thing? I see we have some wonderful comments coming into chat that I could read out, but I wanted to keep the floor open for other folks. Yeah, please just go ahead and come off mute if you want to chat.
I have an
Screens.
exciting announcement. So in the last few days, hi everyone. This community has embraced my production company and studio as we've embarked on our first production that involved in layers of accessibility with the Kinetic Light team. And we were so proud to be a part of the XR Access Symposium this year and present on the stage and share our demo with everyone. And the community has just been amazing over the course of the last few years. So thank you, Dylan and everyone. But I have some really exciting news. We've been nominated for the PGA Awards as a finalist in innovation, and that's the Producers Guild of America. So for anyone that comes from the live entertainment space, I think it's probably the first XR work of this kind that is getting nominated in this way. And we're up against the Sphere in Vegas for the Wizard of Oz. And I think just to be in the company of productions like that and having people in the entertainment industry that will pay attention to this work and get to see it, it just feels like that is the win. So just being a finalist, being part of this, and like getting the message out to more people in the community, sharing the experience with them, having these deep conversations, I just feels like this is why we're here doing this work for this industry.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Kira. No, I think your work was such an amazing example of, we don't just want this content to be accessible to folks with disabilities. We want it to be made by folks with disabilities, right? We want to empower people as creators and have the system that works for that. And I think the work that you've been doing really is a fantastic example of it. So I'm so happy that you're getting some recognition. Yeah, and again, there's a lot of really beautiful uh, messages coming into chat. So I wanted to read a few of these out loud here. Um, let's see, Chris Hainsworth said, "Thank you all for being part of this. Fighting X-ray in 2020, when I first began thinking about non-visual access to VR, was like finally finding an oasis in the desert, a source of inspiration and like-minded people. I learned there was a name for the idea known as the accessibility object model. I wish I could have hold on. I wish my Zoom is playing tricks on me here. Oh, okay, there it is. More to our group. Oh, Chris. Yeah, awesome. Please, we'll excuse the train Wi-Fi. Oh. Oh, I don't think I'm sorry. I don't think we can quite hear you. I think Zoom's canceling out your microphone. But I'll finish reading your comment here. I wish contribute more to our group. Blind Burners did build two creative, rich VR worlds that can be navigated by sound alone, showcasing visual art by blind artists. We influenced a leading tech company and championed visually impaired creative authorship. We'd intended the worlds to act as onboarding ramps for VI folks into VR. We're close to relaunching. That's awesome. Um, and wanted to keep in touch with everyone. Thanks, Dylan, Larry, and everyone. Yeah, thank you, Chris. No, that is another. The Blind Burners was such an awesome community, awesome work. and definitely the first of its kind. So thank you for your hard work on that. I'm really excited to hear that they're close to relaunching. Definitely keep me in the loop. Um, say anyway, other folks from chat. David Wolf says, thank you for running the project. This is an end, not the end. 6 years is a hell of a run. That's roughly twice as long as the original Star Trek. Sometimes you're just early and it takes time for the rest of the world to catch up. Thanks, David. Um, Nobody says that Hubs as a platform is still around even without Mozilla. We've got the Hubs Foundation, a nonprofit, and we carry the torch of accessibility in many ways. And they're all invited to the Discord. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely would be great to see Hubs. I think there's a lot of aspects of Hubs that made it a great potential for accessibility. So we'll definitely have to keep up with that for sure. Um, yeah, there's a lot of great comments coming here. I won't read them all, or we'll be here all day. But and did anybody else want to speak on the Zoom at large?
Hi, Pete Galbraith here. I just wanted to say thank you for creating this space. This has been amazing. As someone who works in the industry and has just been passionate about this, but didn't have a formal academic background in, this, sort of thing with accessibility and whatever, just working in VR, trying to figure it out. Sometimes in the corporate world, we can't talk about what we're doing exactly. And so it makes it challenging to do that. And then, being such a new thing, it was very challenging to have other people to collaborate with for me. So having a space like XR Access to meet folks, connect, and just kind of share in the challenges that like we're facing and the solutions and people who actually understand what it all means. Like when I say it, my parents aren't going to understand a lot of what I'm talking about here, but it's one of those things that was really meaningful to me to just have this community and to have this support and to turn it into this collaborative thing and hopefully make things better because of it. So, and we're not stopping. I'm not stopping certainly. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where things go. But this is closing a chapter.
Yeah, no, thank you, P. And I have to say, first of all, thank you for the wearing the extra access swag. I appreciate that. Um, but also, yeah, I mean, Alchemy has been such a freaking leader in terms of taking all of these hypothetical projects where, there'd be a prototype here and an academic paper there, and actually putting it into practice and making something that is for kind of mainstream markets that could really show this off in a super polished and professional way. Um, and like every time you guys come out with, a new feature of like, oh, we've got a visual accessibility update for Cosmonious High, and we've got captions that actually work and don't give you eye strain, and um, like you guys innovated so much, and I really wanted to thank you all for, again, like Ria, like giving us things to share, giving us things to put a spotlight on, because there's so many times when I'm like, man, I wish we could actually like get some more funding to do some like proper prototyping, but like, oh my God, these guys are knocking you out of the park on that. So yeah, you guys have done a ton, and I definitely look forward to seeing what comes out of Alchemy next for sure.
Thank you so much, Dylan. That's really meaningful. Thanks.
Yeah.
This is Sherry. I loved both your presentations at the symposiums. They were so great. Just seeing what you guys actually built was awesome.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Yeah, we're
Yep.
still working on stuff. We got stuff going all the time.
You should know when we had our we did at one of the things we did at Cornell was this K-12 education thing where we had a couple of school buses worth of students come out and learn about XR accessibility. And one of the things we did was we stuck them in Cosmonious High, and we said, here, try out these features. Here, squint your eyes and see if you can still use it. Here, turn off the sound and see if you can still use it. And you guys were our poster child for that. So well done. Well, I think we've got time for one last comment if anybody wants to make it. But regardless, this has been incredible. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you all again so much for coming out. Thank you all for being here and for supporting us these last 6 years. Uh, like we've said, this is the end of a chapter, but not the end of the great war for accessibility. And we will keep fighting. We will keep dreaming, and we will keep pushing until this tech works for everybody. Gosh darn it. It's just straight up unacceptable for it to not be so. So thank you all for contributing to that, every one of you in your own way. And we will see you all around. All right. Goodbye, all.
Thanks, Dylan. Bye.